Hello, and welcome to Quick English Practice. In this podcast, we have real conversations in easy English to help you learn. I'm Jack. Today's episode is all about meetings, the times when you gather with colleagues to share ideas or make decisions. You'll hear a natural conversation full of useful phrases and everyday vocabulary, perfect for practicing your listening skills and learning how to talk about work meetings. After the conversation, we'll explain some expressions and main vocabulary that might be new or tricky for you, such as brainstorm, speak up, in person, remote, and face-to-face. You can download the full dialogue and vocabulary list from this episode. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment. Let's get started.
Hi, Julia. How are you doing today?
Hey, Leo, I'm good, thanks. Actually, I'm a bit tired. I had 3 meetings already this morning.
Wow, 3. It's not even lunchtime yet. You must feel like you live in meetings.
Sometimes I really do. It feels like my calendar is just one meeting after another. But that's the reality of work, I guess. What about you?
Lucky me, I only had one short meeting today. Most of my work is writing and editing, so I don't need to attend too many. But today we're actually talking about meetings themselves, right?
Exactly. Work meetings, when we gather with colleagues, share ideas, or make decisions. They can be useful, or sometimes they can feel like a waste of time.
Yes, I know that feeling. So, Julia, when do you think meetings are actually useful?
For me, they're most useful when we need to brainstorm. When everyone brings different ideas to the table. It's like a creative energy, and one idea inspires another. I might say something small, and then you add to it, and suddenly we have a big, exciting plan.
Yeah, that's a good point. Brainstorming works so much better when people are in the same room. Sometimes 1 hour of sharing ideas can save a whole week of emails.
Exactly. But, of course, not every meeting is like that. Sometimes we sit there for an hour, and honestly, nothing important happens.
Oh, yes, I've been in those meetings too. Everyone just repeats the same things, and you leave thinking, couldn't this have been an email?
Absolutely. Those are the worst. But let me ask you, do you usually speak up in meetings?
It depends. If it's a small meeting with people I know well, like our team, then yes, I don't mind sharing my thoughts. But in a big meeting with maybe 20 people, I get a bit nervous. My heart starts beating faster, and I wonder if my idea is good enough.
I know what you mean. Speaking up can feel scary in front of a big group. Sometimes I prepare my ideas before the meeting, so I know exactly what to say. That helps me feel more confident.
That's a smart strategy. I should try that. Usually I just improvise, but then I hesitate and someone else says what I wanted to say.
That happens to me too. So, what about in-person meetings versus remote ones? Do you prefer sitting in the same room with people or joining online calls?
Good question. Honestly, I think face-to-face meetings are better when the topic is important. You can see body language, facial expressions, even when someone is about to speak. That makes communication smoother.
Yeah, I agree. In-person meetings feel more human, but I also enjoy remote meetings. I mean, let's be honest, it's nice to join a meeting from your couch with a cup of coffee.
True. And you can even wear slippers and nobody knows.
Exactly. Business on the top, pajamas on the bottom. That's the classic remote meeting outfit.
Guilty. But seriously, remote meetings are really practical when people live in different countries or time zones. Instead of flying across the world, we just click a link.
And that saves money, time, and even helps the environment.
Right. But sometimes I find online meetings harder because people talk over each other. The audio cuts out or someone forgets to unmute.
Oh, yes, the classic, "you're on mute" moment. Every remote meeting has at least one of those.
Definitely. And then there's the awkward silence while everyone waits for the person to find the button.
So true. But still, I think both in-person and remote meetings have their pros and cons.
Exactly. In-person meetings are better for teamwork, brainstorming, and building trust. Remote meetings are more flexible, more comfortable, and more global.
Well said. You know, sometimes I think the perfect balance is a mix of both. Important discussions face-to-face, quick updates online.
Yes, a hybrid approach. That's the future, I think.
So, to sum up, meetings can be useful, but only if they have a clear purpose.
Otherwise, they just eat up our time.
Agreed. A good meeting needs structure, ideas, and people who are willing to speak up.
And maybe some snacks, too.
Absolutely. Food makes every meeting better.
That's the golden rule of teamwork.
I'll remember that.
Great conversation there between Leo and Julia, wasn't it? They talked about something very common in professional life, meetings. And what I really like about this dialogue is that it feels so real. Sometimes meetings are useful, sometimes they feel like too many, and sometimes they are just part of working life. Now, let's take a few minutes to look more closely at some of the vocabulary they used. I'll also give you extra examples so that you can really understand how to use these words in your own conversations. First word, brainstorm. To brainstorm means to share ideas freely in a group. It's like opening the door in your mind and letting all the possible ideas come out, even the crazy ones. For example, imagine your team has to plan a company party. One person says, "Let's have it in the office." Another says, "No, let's go to a park." And someone else says, "What if we rent a boat?" At that moment, nobody is judging, nobody is saying that's a bad idea. You're simply throwing ideas into the air. That's brainstorming. You can also use it in everyday life. Maybe you want to decorate your living room, and you sit down with your family and say, "Okay, let's brainstorm ideas for colors, furniture, or pictures on the wall." It doesn't have to be formal, it just means thinking together. So next time you're in a meeting, don't be afraid to say, "Let's brainstorm some ideas." It makes you sound professional and collaborative. Second expression, speak up. Now, this one is important. To speak up means to share your opinion in a clear and confident voice. It doesn't always mean shouting. It just means participating actively. For example, in the dialogue, Leo said he feels a little nervous to speak up in big meetings. And honestly, that's very common. Many people feel shy, especially when there are a lot of colleagues or even the boss in the room. But speaking up is a skill. You can start small, ask a question, agree with someone, or add one short idea. With time, your confidence grows. Here's another example. Imagine a teacher asks the class, "Does anyone know the answer?" And you raise your hand and say it loudly enough for everyone to hear. You are speaking up. And in daily life, if you're in a cafe and the waiter can't hear you, your friend might say, "Hey, speak up a little, they can't hear you." So it's not only for meetings, but also for normal situations. third phrase, in person. We often say we had a meeting in person. This means face-to-face, when people are physically in the same place. For example, I met my boss in person last week. Or it's nice to finally see you in person after so many video calls. Why is this important? Because many of us now work online. Sometimes meetings are on Zoom, Teams, or Google Meet. So you need a way to explain the difference. If you say in person, everyone understands you mean physically together, not through a screen. Try saying it. Next time, let's meet in person. Simple, clear, and natural. Fourth expression, pros and cons. This is a very popular phrase. Pros are the positive points, the good sides. Cons are the negative points, the disadvantages. For example, working from home has many pros. No traffic, more flexibility, more time with family, but it also has cons. Maybe you feel lonely. Maybe the internet is slow. Or maybe your house is noisy. Another example. Imagine you want to buy a new phone. The pro is that it has a great camera. The con is that it's very expensive. So before you decide, you look at the pros and cons. It's a fantastic expression because you can use it for everything. Jobs, travel, food, technology, even relationships. Now, let's reflect a little. Did you notice that all these words, brainstorm, speak up, in person, and pros and cons, are connected to communication? They are not difficult words, but they are very practical. You can use them tomorrow in your work, school, or even family life. I want you to practice now, just for a few seconds. Think of a situation from your own life. Could you use the word brainstorm? Maybe with friends planning a trip. Could you use speak up? Maybe in class or in a team discussion. What about in person? Maybe you met someone after only talking online. And finally, could you think of pros and cons? Maybe about moving to a new city or changing your job. This little practice helps you remember the words and make them part of your active vocabulary. All right, so those were today's useful expressions. If you'd like to go deeper and practice even more, I've prepared a little extra for you. You can download today's full dialogue and the vocabulary list. It's ready for you as a PDF so you can read, highlight, and review at your own speed. The link is in the description and also in the pinned comment below. And before I say goodbye, let me ask you a small favor. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up. That really helps the channel. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and share this podcast with a friend who is also learning English. Remember, learning is easier when you do it together. Thank you so much for listening today. Keep practicing, keep speaking up, and keep building your confidence step by step. You're doing great. I'm Jack, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care, and bye for now.